Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Saturday Show. I am Tracy, and before we get started, we have a bunch of announcements or bills to pay to get to. So we'll start off with subscribe. Definitely hit that subscribe button. We are up to 337. Our goal this year is 1,000. Please subscribe to this channel. Subscribing literally costs you nothing. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification link so you can be notified when I go live. You can support me on Patreon. Patreon support starts at $2 per month. Visit my official merchandise store. I do have t-shirts, which I should be, because it takes a while for them to ship. I should have my own t-shirt to be wearing on this podcast pretty soon, so you'll actually get to see what it looks like. You can follow me on Facebook. Remember, I still need one more follower so that I can go live on Rumble. And mark your calendar or calendars on Friday, May the 2nd, 2025 at 8 p.m. I am sponsoring a channel fundraiser. My goal is to raise $700 because putting this podcast out here on StreamYard has gone up and I simply don't have the money to pull it off. So I will be having a telethon to raise $700 that should pay for a year. So join me May the 2nd. We'll have games, we'll have clips, we'll have all types of fun, and we'll just help raise some money for this channel because this channel definitely needs it. So let me get some water here. You see the topic. I've done this topic before. And I've talked about some shows, and I'll probably talk about them again. So today's topic is the worst TV shows of all time. Again, like I said, I've done this topic before, but I want to add some new insight to some of my choices. And if you have a terrible show that you want to suggest, be sure to suggest it. Let's see. Hold on just a moment here. I forgot one thing. Last one, help us to get 35 likes and 15 shares. Asking 35 people to like this, 15 people to share it. And I said I was going to get started right away, but I do have another brief announcement. I will be doing, of course, the 7 o'clock show, Justice History Here podcast tonight at 7. Then tomorrow, I will be on twice. I will be on twice tomorrow. Once at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stephen Grombein is going to join me to talk about modern monetary theory. That should be a very interesting discussion. And then at 6 o'clock, City Council person Jesse Brown will be joining me to talk about City of Indianapolis. And it's going to be 4 podcasts that I do over a 2-day period. So if you see me kind of snoozing off, that's why. Again, I have 4 podcasts. This one, the 7:00 p.m. one, then tomorrow at 2 p.m. Then I turn around 4 hours later and do one at 6 p.m. And I'm planning one for Tuesday at 7 p.m. So I'm going to be busy these next couple of days. Remember to comment. Comment on your least favorite TV show. Again, when you think about TV shows, I mean, there are some that are, and please forgive me, I can't show the clips because YouTube hates me. I can't show clips, so I have to do my best to describe the show. There's a special category for bad. Sometimes a show is so bad it's good, like i.e. the Saved by the Bell. It wasn't a great show. Matter of fact, it was a terrible show, but it was so terrible, it actually unintentionally was funny. There's shows like that. And then there's shows like I'm going to name. I'm going to try not to use the phone because these are I've seen, so I should be very good in describing them. Let's start off with Manimal. Now, Manimal, see, I just lied. I said I'm not going to use the phone, but Manimal was a show in the 80s, I think like 83, 84, one of those 2 years. And it was about this detective that could turn into an animal. It was like an actual human being, and he would turn into an animal. I think it was on NBC, and it lasted like 6 episodes. The fact that this show made it past 1 episode amazes me. I mean, you sit here and think, hey, let's come to the table and let's think about a show where a man turns into an animal. Now, mostly he would turn into like a bird, like a falcon, an eagle. It would always be something like he wasn't turning into like an elephant or a giraffe. It was always something in the bird family. It wasn't like a pigeon or a duck, but it was like something like an eagle, a hawk, a raven, not a raven. The show was terrible. I mean, when you sit and think and you pitch shows to networks, what makes them say yes to this kind of show? What makes them think, this is going to work? People want to see a man turn into a bird. That's what they want. Really? 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 A man turning into a bird? That's what you're going to go with? I mean, there were like, if it were a cartoon, it could have possibly worked, right? Because animation, you could just do anything, right? This was like live action. So this was like me turning into a turtle. Like actually this person turning into an animal. Somebody thought this was a good idea. Somebody sat down, wrote the script, held auditions, and said, this is it. This is the winner right here. A man turning into an animal. Oh, and let's name it Manimal. Let's give it the worst name that we can possibly give. I don't know who was in it, and I probably lied and said, I'm not going to use my phone, but not to describe. I just want to see who was in it. Manimal. Well, it says here that he can change it to any animal, but I remembered it where he just changed it to like birds. And it didn't have 6 episodes, it had 8 episodes. I'm sitting here watching the trailer, so it did come on MSNBC. NBC. Manimal is an American superhero television series created by Glenn Larson and Donald Boyle. It aired on Fridays. Well, that was the first mistake there. That was their first mistake, thinking they could air on Fridays. The show centers on character Jonathan Chase, a shape-shifting man who can turn himself into any animal he chooses. He uses his ability to help the police solve crimes. How does this help the police solve crimes? He changes into an animal, and that's what helps. Not detective work, not questioning witnesses, not doing research, changing into an animal. That helps the police force. Are you serious? Are you really, really, really serious? I mean, the fact that one season, yeah, gee, it didn't make it to two. Um, I mean, that's supposed to help solve crimes. Hello, cousin Nelson. It's going fine. Glad you could tune in. If you have terrible TV shows to like you want me to talk about, put them in the comments section. Because I know I'm gonna forget some. There were so many bad TV shows with this one. How anybody out there answer this question? How does turning into an animal help the police force? How? Like this, like they can go undercover. Nobody like I said, it could have worked if it were animation, right? If this were animated, because remember, there was an animated cartoon where a guy changed into a car. And it totally worked because it was animation. So we weren't expecting like a person, like this isn't Transformers. So a person can't turn into a car, but because it's animation, we just said, heck, we'll buy it. We don't care. We'll believe anything. And but to have this live action, to have people sit down, write the script, do costuming, do film work, do promotion. They made promotion stuff off of a man that changes into any animal. Now remember, I only remember him turning into birds. I don't remember him turning into, or maybe a jaguar. Remember there was an episode he turned into a jaguar. Because I can't picture him turning into an elephant or a giraffe or a whale. Like, how many animals, or a roach? I mean, like, how many animals can you actually turn yourself into? Moving on to the next show. Now, this one, I'm just gonna read it because I don't even know. And this was from ABC, had a show called The Charmings. And if you don't remember The Charmings, I'm going to read you the description. The Charmings The Charmings is an American fantasy sitcom that follows, get this, Snow White and Prince Charming, but they live in the 80s. Why? Why would somebody think that was a good idea? Who'll sit here and say, you know what? Why don't we make it like Snow White? Right? They fell asleep. No, I'm just gonna keep reading. Snow White and Prince Charming are awakened from a 1,000-year spell as they adjust from their family's life in the enchanted forest to the modern ways of the 20th century Los Angeles suburb. The series actually lasted more than one episode. And it was this mess lasted 2 seasons. This mess lasted 2 seasons. How the heck? How in the world did this last 2 seasons? They're in this sleep thing for 1,000 years. They wake up. It's the 80s. Maybe as a movie, this could have worked, right? Maybe, but two 2 seasons of 2 seasons. 2? At least Minimum was on like 8 episodes, so it didn't last a whole season. This mess lasted 2 seasons. Oh, we can ready. Wait a minute, we can ready fight. How you gonna like the Charmings? How? The show wasn't good. It was terrible. And they had like these what's the wait a minute, let me check. How they going? Oh, this is what took it off. They had the nerve to go up against A Different World on Thursdays. Well, that'll do it right there. That'll do it right there. It lasted 20 episodes. You had Snow White, Prince Eric Charming, Thomas and Corey Charming. Those were the children. Queen Lillian White, the wicked stepmother of Snow White. Luther, one of the 7 dwarfs, the Magic Mirror. Don, King of Carpets, Miller, and Sally. Somebody thought, take a fairy tale. Let's put them to sleep for 1,000 years, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's 1980. Who sit here and thought, yep, that'll do it right there? Terrible. The writing was bad, the acting was bad, the costume was bad. And keep in mind, 80s fashion was bad. That's the only thing I don't like about the 80s was the fashion. It was terrible. But like I said, this may have worked as like a movie, like a one-time movie in a 2-hour structure. It could have worked, but a whole series? Oh, and hello, Theus. It was quirky fun. If you could give me a definition of quirky fun, because I sat there just like, and Paul Winfield was on it. That already gonna make me, like, once he joined 227, like, nope, not gonna watch it. 1980s. For what? Okay, next show. This one might fall into the it was so bad, it was good. No, I can't put Small Wonder on the list because it definitely falls into it was so bad, it was comical to watch how bad they were. So I'm not going to put Small Wonder in there, but I will put Down to Earth in there. So Down to Earth, I don't even have to look this one up. I already know this mess off the top of my head. So Down to Earth was about a lady, maybe she got struck down by a trolley golly in 1925. Then she went to heaven, and to earn her wings, God sent her back to earth and made her a 1980s lady. Oh, this will work. This will work. This is gonna work. I don't see what this mess stayed on for, I think, 4 seasons. I don't even wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute, y'all. Nope. I know it exists. Okay. Why? Why would somebody think, hey, gee, let's write a letter, let's write a whole TV show? Yeah. So I'm just gonna read you the Down to Earth is an American fantasy series that ran on TBS Superstation from 1984 to 1987. This mess ran for 3 years. The series was originally produced by the Arthur Company and later by Procter and Gamble and was on the Superstation first original series. So remember, TBS that was owned by Ted Turner had like a lot of its own original shows. This one, Out of This World, and a whole bunch of other ones. The series revolved around Ethel McDougan, a free spirit woman who lived in the Roaring Twenties era. However, in 1925, which I got right, she suffered a fatal accident while colliding with a trolley. Ethel awaits in heaven for 60 years and is given a chance to earn her wings until finally she is sent to Earth in the 1980s to help the president's family. Now, she comes as a housekeeper. Wait a minute. I want to read the. Hold on, y'all. Down to Earth TV show lyrics. That is by Chris Rock. I want to get the lyrics. Fools. Oh, here they are. I'm going to read this crap, and this should tell you how bad the show is. Okay. Back in the days of Valentina, we know a maid named Ethel who was so bright and alive, wackadoo, wackadoo, wackadoo. But she was struck down by a trolley, golly. See, I got that part right. And said goodbye to 1925. Tattle-do, tattle-do, tattle-do. Ethel in heaven waited patiently to gain her wings to be an angel fancy-free. 60 years later, the opportunity to help a family came through. Boo-booby-doo, 23 skidoo. Back down to earth to teach the presidents lessons. Richie, Lizzie, Dwayne, and JJ too. Dun, 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 dun. Now she must be a 1980s lady. Down to earth is so angelical. Dun, 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 dun. Down to earth is quite a spectacle. Dun, 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 dun. Down to earth is just hysterical. Dun, 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 dun. She's down to earth. Down to earth, dun, 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 down to earth. Why? Who sat here and thought, gee, let's break all the religion rules. Just throw them out the window. Just throw them out the window. Angels, to my understanding, cannot earn wings. When you leave, you're not going up there to earn wings. You either there or you not. Who sat here and thought, yep, this is a show? And they switched the fathers. The father was the second, like they had one father, and he was replaced by the first or second Darren on Bewitched. I cannot understand this. She has to earn her wings. Really? You gonna go with that? Never saw the movie. Next show was a spinoff. This show Wait a minute. Let me think about. Oh, this show it's called Enos. And it was a spinoff of the Dukes of Hazzard. So if you've ever watched one episode of the Dukes of Hazzard, like in its heyday, there was this character named Deputy, I think Enos Strait. Don't quote me on the last name, but I know his first name was Enos. So the producers thought, well, gee, he's funny, he's witty, he does physical comedy well. Let's give him his own show. So he takes a job in Los Angeles. And but they forgot to bring the rest of the cast with. I think this show lasted like maybe 4 episodes. Let me see now. I think it lasted like 4 episodes, maybe. Let me. Former County. Wow. You know what? I watch too much dang on TV. I got this actually absolutely correct. This show lasted more than a season. Enos is an American action comedy series that's a spinoff to the Dukes of Hazzard. It originally aired from CBS to 1980 to 1981. The series focused on the adventures of Enos Strait, a former deputy in rural Hazzard County, after he moved to Los Angeles to join the LAPD. Sonny Schroeder played Enos on both shows. The scene was set for Enos leaving Hazzard to become LAPD lawman in the 3rd season. Blah, 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 blah. It lasted 1 season, but 18 episodes. Each episode of Enos featured the title character fighting crime alongside partner Turk Adams, I think, who was black. Episodes usually began and ended with Enos writing a letter to the Dukes of Hazzard character Daisy Duke, in which he told her his adventures in LA in an attempt to boost ratings. A number of other characters from Dukes of Hazzard made cameos, such as Daisy, Uncle Jesse, and Roscoe. That didn't help, but Enos still failed to catch on. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm just gonna move on to the Chips spinoff. I don't understand. Like, I get it when a show is big, like the Dukes of Hazzard, Married with Children, Cheers, All in the Family. You'll do a spinoff of an established character, but that doesn't mean we want to watch it. That does not mean we want to watch it. And y'all keep commenting on what y'all think I should talk about next. What show did I just say I was going to talk about? Oh, goodness gracious. I forgot that. I got a brain fart moment here. I forgot what TV show I said I was going to talk about next. Ooh, wait a minute. Yeah. I literally just said it. Oh, the Chips spinoff. Ha 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 ha. So Chips was a show with Eric Estrada and that other guy, and they had a spinoff. And I think I watched like 1 episode of this. Chips TV show spinoff. No, it was it was a failed spinoff. Okay, so this actually wasn't a show. This was a failed spinoff. So what'll happen when a show spins off? They'll have a character who they're going to spin off into the other show appear on a certain amount of episodes, and that's their way of introducing the spinoff show. They'll move to a new city, blah blah blah. And this was a failed spinoff called Punch Angels, in which Melanie Mitchell and Paula Woods are trained chip officers serving under John and Punch. Okay, so it wasn't actually a spinoff. It was 2 episodes of show. Okay, so we can't talk about this spinning. Um, uh, um, oh my goodness. Yeah, y'all just, I can't. You really want to fight me today? Little House on the Prairie was an awesome show. That's one of the best. I don't even know. No, you literally want to fight me. That's what you want to do. You want to fight me. There's no way I would ever put Little House on the Prairie on this show. On the countdown of worst, it's one of the best. It's literally one of the best. Now I gotta think other worst shows that won't include Little House on the Prairie. Okay, so talked about Enos. I talked about that Seinfeld ripoff show wasn't very good. Seinfeld TV show ripoff. No. Um. Curb Your Enthusiasm was actually good, but that's not the one I'm talking about. Um. Come on, yeah, because it's one I'm saving for like the end, but I'm trying to like think of other shows that I forgot. I said The Charming. Out of This World, I can't. That's another show. It was so terrible. It was actually good. So I can't put that. California Dreaming. California Dreams was one of these Saved by the Bell ripoffs. So back in the day, before infomercials took over Saturday mornings, TV stations had like a block of shows. And NBC, they would have like Alvin and the Chipmunks, and then they would go to their live action show. Well, they had this live action show called Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell. Okay, first of all, let me backtrack. Saved by the Bell used to be called Good Morning Miss Bliss, but it was on the Disney Channel. It got canceled. Brandon Tartikoff bought the rights to the show, brought it to NBC, called it Saved by the Bell. When Saved by the Bell hit NBC, it was a huge hit. I mean, huge. Every preteen teen watched Saved by the Bell. So, of course, they had to do knockoff shows. Now, I said I was going to talk about California Dreams, and I am. But I got to talk about 2 spinoffs that Saved by that Bell had that were terrible. The first is hold on, because this is getting a little hot. Saved by the Bell, The College Years. We're going to definitely talk about that. But Saved by the Bell, The College Years followed Zach, Slater, Screech, and Kelly as they went to California University or whatever that university was called, and had this football player whose name I cannot think. This show was awful. It took, like I said, it was following them in their college years. Nobody wanted to see that. Once Zach and Kelly got married, or did they get married during the college years? I think they got married during the college years. Once the wedding happened, we didn't really want to see that anymore. I mean, nobody cared. We wasn't sitting here like, gee, wonder what they're going to be like in college. It just wasn't a good show. It didn't come on Saturdays. It came on Tuesdays. Like, if they had just kept it on Saturday, maybe it could have worked, in that same preteen teen audience that followed Saved by the Bell would have followed the college years. But they didn't. Oh, they had some terrible episodes. Then they had another terrible spinoff, Saved by the Bell, The New Class. This was in like the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And they had only Mr. Belding and Screech, who was now a teacher for some reason. Those were the only two from the Saved by the Bell series that came on to this new class. It was like they just took the episodes of the old show, wrote more people of color in it, which I hate that phrase, but that's what they did. They tried to capitulate to like every group possible. And it was just terrible. Terrible writing, terrible acting, terrible. And they were missing the woo. When when they would have like a kissing scene and they would do that woo. Why is this little screen coming up? I'm sorry. I'm trying to just no. California Dreams was about, California Dreams. These kids in high school. No, that was Hang Time. That was Hang Time with Anthony Anderson. So Hang Time was about this girl who played, they were in Indiana, and they played, it was an all-boys basketball team, and this girl all of a sudden joins the team. Now, sure, they have this thing called, I don't know, girls basketball, but for some reason, she was on the boys basketball team, and they made it to the state championship for some reason that was held in Bloomington. Now, if you live anywhere in the state of Indiana, I mean anywhere, Shipshewana, Gary, Lake Station, Osceola, Evansville, Granger, South Bend, the championship is always held in the capital city of Indianapolis. It's not. Where would they play in Bloomington? And I love the way they had like when they would play, they would like play on like a half court. They wouldn't play on like the full court. Oh, Hang Time was terrible. Hang Time was so terrible. Yeah, and do a YouTube search on it. Anthony Anderson, yes, the blackish Anthony Anderson, was on that show. It was in the beginning of his career, so you need credit so you can like audition for stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why? Yeah, I was confusing. I definitely was confusing California Dreams with Hang Time. Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think we're going to go to your next choice. The Golden Girls spinoff. The Golden Palace. So the Golden Palace. Okay, so I don't think I had to tell you about the Golden Girls, but because I have time, I will. Blanche, Dorothy, Rose, Sophia all live together in a Miami house. Dorothy gets married to Malcolm or Eddie or Spencer or shoot, whatever his name was. Wait a minute. Now, Evan or what was the name of Dorothy Soburnak's second husband? Lucas Hollingsworth. That was Blanche's cousin. So Dorothy leaves with Lucas. I can't believe I had to look that up. I'm like, Henry, Michael? No, Lucas. So she marries Lucas. They go off to Atlanta or South Carolina or Denver, wherever it is they going, right? And so the show ends. So you think they're going to just ride off into the sunset. Nope. NBC was smart enough to turn this piece of crap spinoff down. Not CBS. CBS said, oh, sure, we'll do it. So Golden Palace. Okay, so Blanche decides to sell her house and buy a hotel and somehow talks Rose and Sophia into doing this. So they buy a hotel called the Golden Palace. And they get into these little adventures like Blanche's developmental delayed brother that we never knew about, Blanche's son that's went from an account to a comic, Stan coming back to fake his death, and Sophia saying she loved him, Miles leaving Rose at the altar for Violet. It was just, and Don Cheadle, this, you know what? I know this was at the beginning of your career and everything, but you didn't have to do this. You did not have to do this in, what's his name? The Golden Palace cast. Cheech Moran. I don't understand why somebody thought this was a good idea. Why was the Golden canceled? It was terrible. The Golden Palace lasted one season, which is one season too long. Oh gosh. Who sat here and thought, gee, we want to see all the Golden Girls minus Dorothy? Like the Golden Girls, the original, it was really, if you think about it, it was really based off of Dorothy, right? Dorothy can't find a man. Dorothy's ugly. Dorothy's tall. Everything always revolved around her. And when you take that away, like the four of them together works. The four of them separate, it just does not. Three's a Crowd. Now, Three's a Crowd is a spinoff of Three's Company. Three's Company had Janet, Jack, Chrissy, and then Chrissy left, and then eventually they got Chris. What was the name? Oh, Cindy. Then they got Jack, Cindy, and Janet, and then eventually Janet, Terry, and Jack. So the series ended with Janet getting married to some guy, and then Terry moving to Hawaii because she got a new job there. And Jack falls in love with this lady, and they decide to move into an apartment together. So where they got Three's a Crowd from, and Three's Company has two bad spinoffs I'm going to talk about. So I'll talk about Three's a Crowd. So they move into an apartment together, but her father, she's an airline stewardess, and her father is like this overprotective, metal in, just wasn't funny. I mean, rest in peace to John Ritter, but this show was not it. It was terrible. It didn't have the same, like they tried to do the same pratfall thing that Three's Company did, But again, it just like we didn't want to introducing all these new characters, and it just wasn't very good. I mean, just not good. Another spinoff of the um, show was The Ropers. Now you got to go old school with me to remember The Ropers. So The Ropers on Three's Company were the landlords to Janet, Chrissy, and Chrissy. Name my cousins, Janet, Jack, and Chrissy. They had these landlords named the Ropers, Stanley Roper and Helen Roper. And Mr. Roper was terrible. He always would make jokes that we would probably call homophobic today. But for some reason, it was the 80s or late 70s, and people got away with that kind of stuff. So they got their own spinoff, and it was just terrible. The Ropers was a terrible spinoff. There was no way that we wanted to sit here and watch the misadventures of Mr. Roper and his wife. And it was so bad that they didn't bring back the characters to the show. They just wrote in Mr. Furley and said, "We done with y'all." I mean, that's how bad it was. And then they had this little boy, and you know, when you add a kid in, that's when a show is like on its way out. So they had 2 spinoffs. I forgot about this show, Cop Rock. Cop Rock, the best way I can describe Cop Rock is Broadway musical meets cop show every single week. It was I don't know what ABC was thinking. Cop Rock. Yeah, because I'm just going to let Wikipedia tell you. Now, you would think Cop Rock is an American police musical. Cop Rock is an American police procedural musical television series created by Stephen Bonko and William Finkelstein for the American ABC. It premiered September 26, 1990, and had 11 episodes, which ended December 26, 1990. They had composers, Randy Newman. Oh my gosh. Y'all. Here, let me just read the premise. Following the Los Angeles LAPD, Cop Rock features an ensemble cast of police officers and detectives as they solve crimes across the city. Now, that probably could have worked. If they had just stopped right there, it could have worked, right? A cop drama, okay, you had Hill Street Blues, NYPD Blue, that new Jack City show that I can't never think of. You know, you had enough TV police shows that, okay, another one we could take. But they didn't stop there. With the series mixing music and choreography throughout the storylines and introduce new characters. Its main storyline, Captain John Hollander investigates involvement of Detective Vincent LaRusso in the execution of murder suspect Tyrone Weeks. Subplots include Detective Ralph Ruskin growing jealous, the growing jealousy of his wife and her friendship, blah, blah, blah. I just don't know. They had one where the jury was in like choir robes and they sang "Not Guilty." That's always good. This could have worked if it was like a movie. Like if it were just a musical, like within a 2, maybe 3 hour structure, it could have worked. And I love musicals. Don't get it twisted. I love musicals. But what I don't love is seeing one every single week. Seeing the same show with the same characters every single week singing different songs. I don't need that. Just if you're going to do a crime musical, okay, it can work. I mean, there was Guys and Dolls. It worked. You could have made this just a musical like by itself and then like cut it up into episodes. You did not have to make a show where the jury is in dang on choir robes talking about you're innocent or not guilty. You had to do that, ABC. Y'all done did some stupid stuff. And I don't understand. I want to put Mork and Mindy on here so bad because I can't stand that show at all. I can't with Mork and Mindy. It's just so bad. Mork and Mindy. If you don't know what Mork and Mindy is, it's a spinoff of Happy Days that takes place in the actual 70s. Now, if you remember Happy Days, it took place in the 50s, but it was shot in the 70s. And as a retrospect look back on the 50s. Well, Mork, played by the late great Robin Williams, is this alien from the planet of Mork is his name. He's from the planet of Ork, I think. And he's from like the future, which is the actual 1970s. Well, because Robin Williams was genius and made everything he did funny, they gave him his own TV show. Why? He marries Pam Dauber's character. They have a baby. She's pregnant, but somehow bursts an egg, and I can't with Mork and Mindy. I know people love this show, and I don't understand why y'all love Mork and Mindy. But there's one show, y'all. There's one show that I have to talk about, and I've talked about this show several times. And I don't understand how this show even made it to television. For a show let's first talk about, before I tell you about this show. No, I'm going to tell you the show. So there was yeah, okay. Yeah, and if you've watched this show in the past, you know I'm going to talk about this show, right? You've heard me talk about it, but I still can't understand how this was even a thing. So I'm just going to let Wikipedia do this. Hell, Honey, I'm Home is a British comedy written by Geoff Atkinson and produced in 1990. It was canceled after one episode. It centers on, get this, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun, who live next door to a Jewish couple, Arnie and Rosa Goldstein. The episode spoofs elements of the mid-20th century American sitcoms and is driven by Hitler's inability to get rid of his neighbors. It caused controversy when broadcast and has been called perhaps the world's most tasteless situation comedy. No, it's the worst. When you make a show well, I didn't know that. Robin Williams made his debut on The Gong Show. Didn't know that. Hell, Honey, I'm Home. When you think of let's go through the steps it took to get this show aired. Step one. Somebody thinks, gee, I'm going to write a comedy about Adolf Hitler, perhaps the world's most hated person. If there were a poll of most hated people, Adolf Hitler would be number one. No doubt about it. So you think, gee, let's write a comedy about Adolf Hitler. You don't do it like the producers where you make Hitler look like a buffoon and it's funny, right? You put it off like it's serious. So you think, yeah, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to write a script. You workshop that script. Now, workshop literally means you get actors or your friends to read the script or the pilot or whatever, and they tell you what they think. And they give you their opinions, and then you make changes. Then you go to a production house to sell this show. Some production house thinks, gee, you know what? This will make sense. Let's just buy this show and put it on TV. I mean, sure, nobody will get offended. I don't see how anybody could get offended. So the BBC, I guess, I don't think it was the BBC. I think it was the BBC's competitor, buys the show. So then they put out an audition notice. They put it to production. They put it out to agencies. It's not a cattle call, so you can't just show up. So they put out, we're looking for a male 5'7", black hair, short mustache, kind of looks like Hitler, his lover Ava Braun, et cetera, et cetera. They say the height, the type, the weight, the width, the whatever. Then they hold auditions. Some actor is told that, later on that they didn't get the role and they're disappointed. You should be thankful. So the actors are cast. So then they had to hire costuming, camera, makeup, set design, publicity, etc. Oh, and writers, because you have to have writers, because this was actually 8 shows taped, but only 1 aired. Then you film it. The actors rehearse this script. Meanwhile, nobody's bringing up the idea that this is Adolf Hitler that you're talking about, living next door to Jewish people. You didn't think people were going to just be disgusted. You thought, oh, gee, this works. This works out. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't work. I mean, this is about the smartest idea we ever came up with. What? What are you talking about? This was bound to fail. This show, type it in. It's I'm gonna type in. Let me see if I can find a clip and at least put it in the comment section, because I want to at least. I want to at least. Yeah, I'm going to put, since I can't show a clip, or you could just go to YouTube and type Hell, Heil, space honey, I'm home. It'll just come up. You take this? You sat down and thought, gee, how do I offend people? How do I make the most offensive thing that I can possibly make? I know, let's put Adolf Hitler in the comedy. Everybody's just bound to love it. What? No, there are certain things you don't make comedies out of. Again, the producers work because they made Hitler look like a buffoon. This show was trying to spoof it in a way that was mocking American sitcoms of the 20th century. Well, I'm not even going to say, well, okay. I don't even know, like, what would make somebody think that's it. That'll do it. People are bound to love it and bound not to get offended. I mean, how could they? It's Hitler. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the worst show. I can't figure from the start to the fifth. I can't figure out. Nobody said, hey, this is just a terrible idea. This is so terrible. We should just be ashamed of ourselves that we aired it. No. Yo. Oh my goodness. It's time for me to go. Because again, this is a busy podcasting weekend for me. Keep in mind, I will be back at 7 o'clock with Justice is Here podcast. That'll come on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then I'll be back Sunday at 2 with Stephen Grumheim. And I'm not pretty sure I'm not pronouncing his name right. Grumbine. That's how you pronounce his name. And he will be talking about modern monetary theory, something that I really just so hopeful that you'll tune into that. That'll be at Sunday at 2. Then at Sunday at 6, we'll have city council person, Jesse Brown from Indianapolis on to talk. And I'll be interviewing him about some of the stuff that's going on in my city. Hope you tune in for that. So remember to subscribe. Support me on Patreon. Visit my official merchandise store. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Rumble. And mark your calendars for Friday, May the 2nd at 8 p.m. I will be having I think I'm going to do 2-hour telethon. I'm trying to raise $700 on that one day so that I can continue to pay for my StreamYard. Please be sure to participate in that. It'll be live on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to let whoever this is, I don't know who this person. I'm gonna have to learn how to block people in StreamYard because somebody keeps coming on talking about get viewers. Have a great day. I'll see you all at 7. I'm gonna take myself down into the outro. See you soon. Bye-bye.